I got a call from Eckhart a few months ago, and he knew I was coming, and there was a clash of our schedule, and he was afraid that I'd take all his crowd over. So I said, Eckhart, don't worry, it's okay. You're offering something, I haven't. We'll be okay, don't worry. And he was really upset about it. And I said, it's okay. He's such a sweetheart, you know. But he sent me lovely messages and hearts and hugs, and I hope you have a great time. It was beautiful, beautiful. So this communication, and it's like two sides of the river, the two apparent sides. This communication here.
It's a C.
It's a C, sorry. Yeah. Stand corrected.
Sorry.
The analogy was a river, and I'm going to keep going with the river. It's like two sides of the tracks. It's like this one here this isn't about right or wrong. There actually is no right or wrong, only in the story. In the story, there's right and wrong, and there's good and bad, and there's this play of opposites. So over here, there's a communication that's not right or wrong, but it's a communication that speaks to somebody. And it's a communication that offers something. And what it offers is very simple. It suggests that there's a thing called the present, and that you can be in this thing called the present. So if your mind is always elsewhere, it's either thinking about things that happened in the past and cogitating about things that you did or didn't do and mistakes that you made and so on, or else worrying about things that might happen in the future. And the suggestion is that you should just be in the present, be in the moment, and that when you're in that moment, there is peace within that, and there is wholeness and oneness and so on, whatever way he would word it. And this is something totally different. This is a completely different communication. And the suggestion is that there actually is no present. The suggestion is that there is no separate you who can be in a thing called the present or the moment, because the sense that there is a present comes directly out of the sense of separation. The sense that there's a present moment is a sense that there's time and space, and that sense of time and space and causality and all of that reality is from a sense of separation. So this afternoon, there's a sharing that's completely non-prescriptive. There's nothing to be done here. There's nothing to know here. There's no moment to be in. There's nothing to get. It's simply an illumination. And the illumination is a sharing from nothing, that actually there is no separate you, and there never has been. There's just what's appearing to happen. So there's sounds, there's a sensation of sitting on a chair, there's maybe thoughts arise, maybe a feeling, whatever is being seen. There's just actually aliveness. That's all there is, and that's all there ever has been. But in that aliveness appears to arise, apparently arises, this lived sense, this contracted lived sense of being a separate individual in the body. So there's a lived energetic sense that there's life, there's aliveness, and there's life, and there's me then with my life. And everything in the story reinforces that. Parents, school, experiences, TV, magazines, everything. You are an individual and you have a life. So This is quite a radical communication. It's a rare communication from nobody, from nothing. This one here is the popular communication, of course, because you're being addressed as an individual and you're being told you can do something. It's not right or wrong. The individual loves that because the individual can relax into that and try and be in the moment and then feel experientially like they are in the moment, like have a lived experience of God, I was so present today. I really was. It was gorgeous. I met my friend and I was present with every word they said. I wasn't thinking about what I should do for dinner or something like this. And it was so gorgeous, you know. So experientially, we can have this sense of those things kind of even working. And we feel that there's something in that. Then logically, of course we do. Of course we do, because we think that what we're looking for is an experience. But actually, what's yearned for is not an experience or a state. What's yearned for is simply aliveness, simply whatever's appearing to happen. It cannot be known, it cannot be had, and it cannot be lost. So once, if you may or may not have a sense of being an individual, I'll only know when you start telling me, because I can't see any individuals in this room. There are actually no individuals in this room. There's aliveness, that's all there is, appearing as the sea, boats, bodies, glass of water. And in that aliveness, there's a lived sense of feeling like a separate individual. But it's a story, it's an appearance. There's already no separate you. So this isn't about something happening today to you, because there's no you for it to happen to. But what's being shared can just resonate, and does resonate. It can just, it's beyond knowing and understanding. It can be very obvious that there's just what's appearing to happen. There's no you that it's happening to. So when we share, this is shared like this, then there logically would be a question if there's a feeling of separation, because that's how we operate. We live in knowing and we live in understanding. So we live in a closed loop of knowing. So when there's any suggestion, of course, there's a question. And that's what this whole afternoon is just simply an illumination in which there can be a question. It doesn't matter what the question is. There can't really be a silly question at all. There can't be, because if there's an engagement with this, or a kind of a with this sharing, then you can't go wrong or right. It doesn't matter. And there'll appear to be an answer here. So there'll appear to be a question and appear to be an answer here. But if you stay just with that, you're just in concept, really. You're just with that question, answer, ideas, concepts, knowing. And actually, there's the questions and the answers are just an excuse, really, for this boundless resonance. Because this is everything. Energetically, all there is everything. And everything is nothing. Appearing as a room and a sea and a sensation of sitting on a chair, an idea. So you can't go wrong or right, because there already is no you there. And that could be obvious, maybe. So we'll see what appears to happen. We didn't do any kind of housekeeping, did we, Malika? What did we have? Some announcements to make? We're going to have 2 breaks, are we? Are we going to have 2?
No. This is. They don't need to hear this.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna go prepare some coffee. I'm leaving the room in half an hour to prepare some coffee.
Oh yeah, just to give people an idea, like, because we had 1 to 5 down, so
like 2 short breaks.
yeah. One, two. So we'll probably break between around 2:15, yeah.
So Kenneth, it seemed like my word see resonated there.
That's an idea, you know. There's an idea there that something resonated here. So the word see, when you said the word see, so there's an idea there that something happened here. That's an idea. So when you said, when we had that thing about sea and river, is it? Yeah. So
Of course.
Yeah. So what's appearing to happen there is there's a sense of kind of like evaluating what appears to happen and looking for some sort of reaction and putting some sort of thing. So that's all what's appearing to happen there. There is no here and there is no there. Only in the story, it appears that way.
I'll never get it.
No, obviously not. I haven't got it. I mean, if I had it, if I had something that ye didn't have, this would be a different communication completely, because this would then be a teaching of some sort. And it would be about knowing. And then I would be speaking to separate individuals who I would be telling you how you can become not separate or whole or complete, just like me. And energetically, this will be totally different, because I would be speaking to you and I would know something that you don't know yet. And then together we would share and you would get to know it. That's what's happening across the sea. Would we call it a channel? Like the whole sense of, like, certainly the apparent individual will come to these meetings apparently with an idea that there's something to get, because there's always a sense that there's something to get, because for the individual there's a continual sense of knowing and there's somewhere to get. It's always around the next corner and I can know it. But that's not an issue. That's not a problem. The parent individual can come in here with any kind of idea. It doesn't matter. I can't see an individual. It doesn't matter a damn what the individual thinks they want to get out of this, whatever, because I'm not speaking. There is no individual to even speak to. So this whole sharing this afternoon has absolutely nothing to do with the individual. It doesn't matter. And of course, there's nothing to get, because this is already boundless wholeness. You are already that, and that's totally unknowable. How could that be known? Knowing it would require a separate you who knows it. It's very simple. What's been shared the whole afternoon is there is no afternoon really. In the story, this is the real and the unreal. It's an illumination of not the unreal. As an individual, there's a sense of real because you're real. So when I feel real as a subject, everything is an object to me, and I'm living in the real. I'm living in time and space. Everything is happening in a causal manner in that way. One thing's happening, one thing, ding, ding, ding. And this illumination is that all of that's actually a story. It's an appearance. So what feels as so absolutely real, in the same way that I feel exactly how I feel real, like I have a life, there's life and there's me with my life. It can be seen, it's simply a story. And that's totally simple and direct and ordinary and obvious. This is about something, it cannot be described how ordinary it is, what it is that's yearned for and looked for. It's the individual thinks that it's difficult and complex and has an experience of trying to get there and kind of getting there and then getting it's just around the next corner. But all the while, actually, what's yearned for is simply already, hello, it's just this. It's always just whatever's appearing to happen. So it appears to hide by simply already being everything.
And if there is a sense of separation, like it is here.
Yeah.
What?
That's what's happening. So there's a sense there of feeling separate. Yeah. So that's just simply what's appearing to happen. So that's just wholeness appearing to be separate. But the suggestion being made there is actually that sense of being separate isn't a real thing that's really happening. And that can resonate there. But there's not actually a real separate individual. I'm not speaking to an individual now. So there's already just boundless wholeness.
So here there is, it's arising the or whatever the words, I don't know.
It doesn't matter about the words, yeah, don't worry.
But it's not arising there.
No, like when there's no longer a sense of being separate, what's obvious is there are no separate individuals. It's not that there's oneness here and then I can show you the way to oneness. There's no you to show the way to oneness because all there is wholeness. So when that sense of being a separate individual appears to fall away, it's very obvious there is no individual anywhere. So there's already no individual there. There's just sitting on a chair, holding a microphone, and was speaking. There's no you. You didn't do any of that. So there's no, and that can just be sensed. That can be, that can be very obvious, or it may not be. But there's no individual there that will fall away during this meeting, or only apparently.
And I can't do anything to.
No, it's not that you can't do anything. It's worse than that, because if there would be a you there, if you can't do anything. So there's no you who can do something or not do something. Do you see the difference? There's no you there who can't do anything. There's already no separate you there.
I mean, intellectually, I can see it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, yeah. But it's not, as I was saying at the beginning, it's not about understanding. So that's fine if it's seen intellectually or whatever, but this is about a lived sense of feeling separate. It's an energetic, it's a really lived reality for the individual of feeling there's a world out there and there's a me in here. So that either appears or it doesn't, and even understanding that doesn't make any difference.
So, I mean, me or not, I still feel that there's something central to the body here.
Yeah.
And then not around.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what's happening there then.
But that's not happening there, you see.
Oh yeah, because everything is unique. So here there's just body. So this is wholeness as this body, and it is other wholeness as other bodies. It appears as different, but there it's whole. It's all wholeness, and then some of them bodies experientially feel like they're separate. So therefore, there is separation, and there are other people, and there is time and space, and I do have a life, and I have choice, and all of that. And all that is energy appearing as that. So there's no separate individual in the room. There's not even a room. There's aliveness rooming, you know. So that's the real of it. The individual sees only something, and no thing can't be seen, because no thing can't be seen from the feeling of being a subject. It's always something. So and then that's what's being suggested, is that's a half alive feeling. There's a dissatisfaction with that, because there's a dissatisfaction in always, you know, there's me and the sea. There's me and Eckhart over there, you know, wants to go to dinner later, you know, and the texts that are coming in from him, they're an object to me, and I'm living in the real then. And this is the illumination that actually what's yearned for is nothing, which is everything. But the nothing can't be seen when you feel separate. And there's a sense of separation. So that's just there. And it could just be this afternoon or any time, because there is no time. That sense there of feeling like a separate you may not be there.
I mean, the feeling of a separate me might just be an idea here.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that I still feel that there's some kind of centrality to the body.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is that also felt over there?
No, there's no center. There's no centrality to anything.
Okay.
There's no sense here of any one in here behind the eyes, or there would have been. There would have been, and then apparently that energetically just wasn't there. And then it was seen that actually nothing even happened. That sense of being separate was an energetic sense that was only an appearance.
But you still feel the body, at least.
I don't feel the body.
There's no you, but the body is still felt.
There's life bodies, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing here that's different from anywhere else. There's nothing, obviously there's nothing special. You can see that yourselves, but there's nothing different at all. It's actually the individual is an addition, but it's an energetic sense of being in the body. So if I feel like an individual, I will really feel like I'm speaking to you. There's not just speaking, there's me speaking. And there's not just sitting on this chair. There's a sense that I'm sitting on the chair. And then all the sounds here and the sounds, there's a sense that I'm hearing the sounds, and I'm, you know, just so on, so on. So it's not an idea that you feel separate for the individual. It's a really felt sense of, like, all of the senses are pouring through this me, like a filter. And it just mostly goes completely, totally, and utterly unquestioned. There's no question. It is a me. And then everything in the story, everyone will validate that. Of course there's a you. Of course there's an individual. I have my life, you have your life. And then that appears to just continue until, but all the time what's being suggested is all the time that there is that sense of separation, there's a yearning. That's what the yearning is from. Whether it's being seen or not, or whether there's a kind of sensitivity to it or not, there's a yearning because there's a deep dissatisfaction with a sense that there's wholeness, there's everything, and there's me. So how did I lose everything? And then logically, the individual would feel, how, if I feel separate and there's something missing, I must try and find it. Of course, that's it, because if there's a void, I can fill the void by doing meditation, making a lot of money, I don't know, getting a really powerful job. You know, we could just go on all day on what the things that the individual appears to do. Be really important, be famous, be liked by everyone, be a victim, maybe that's someone's game, whatever. Everyone has different games, and it's all a sense of that something will address this sense of yearning that's here. And the suggestion being made is that actually nothing will address the sense of yearning, that it's not about you getting something, an experience or anything like that. It's actually a loss. It's not a gain, it's a loss. It's an apparent loss, and the loss is actually of this sense of being you. So really everyone is yearning for their own absence, and they're terrified of their own absence. This is the big paradox. Like the individual does not want what's being suggested here. The individual does not want any. He wants to go, they want to go cross to Eckhart, you know, because that's where you get something to do. And it feels great then. It's okay, we'll all, like if I had started this meeting and said, we're just going to, and did a guided meditation about being in the moment or being present. Everyone, the individual, in the sense of being an individual, would totally relax because, oh, great. And they would, you know, we'd say, we'll have 10 minutes of silence. Oh, that's great. And because you're being spoken to then. So actually, the individual doesn't want what's being suggested here at all. But there's no individual from here. There's actually no individual anyway being spoken to.
Yeah, in a way, you just answered almost the question I had, because it's like I have this feeling that I like to be in the body, or I like to be in the human experience, or I like to somehow be in the story.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that really likes that.
Oh yeah, of course. It's that's all the individual's interested in, is the story and thinking that it's real and feeling that it's real, and a sense that I really am a me. I have choice, and that the whole everything in the story then just reinforces that. Really, it's like a loop in which you're continually reinforcing a sense of me, because you're continually a sense of reinforcing the reality of your story, because everyone is in a different reality. And there's not for a second anything being suggested that there's anything wrong with that, because there isn't at all. And if someone is totally happy with that, then that's what's appearing to happen. But there can be a sensitivity and an openness that there's something in that doesn't quite satisfy, for some more than others, and that actually there's something being yearned for that's not in the story of my life. So there's nothing being asked of anyone today to believe anything, to know anything, to do anything, to not do anything. So there's just what's appearing to happen.
Yeah, no, it's also like acknowledgement that there is a yearning every now and then, but then it's also the enjoyment of the story.
Yeah, so there's just what's appearing to happen. So someone is enjoying all whatever they're enjoying, then enjoyment is appearing to happen then. Yeah. And that's fine. It's just what it is. You know, there's not anything wrong with the sense of separation, because it's just wholeness appearing as a sense of separation. But if it's illuminated, there's a deep sense of unworthiness in that sense of separation. That's either there's a sensitivity to it or there isn't, or whatever. So
yeah, it is painful sometimes, of course, too. But somehow it's easier to be in the story.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm not speaking to any individuals because I can't see any individuals in the room actually. So I'm not interested, you know. So if there's a sense of being an individual and, well, I want to continue being an individual, that it's the same as someone saying to me, well, I don't feel like an individual. That's fine. There's no way of going right or wrong.
Can I ask a question? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Um, um, I was wondering about something you said yesterday about there being such a consensus that we're living in a world of individuals.
Mm.
That it's almost like a dogma, that people feel. I think you can feel that some people really don't like that idea being questioned,
Mm.
that everybody is an individual. And I've always wondered about that because it's like there can be any kinds of experiences are possible, and some people may feel like individuals and others don't. But whenever this message is like um, being propagated, for lack of a better word, you always get this resistance from people often, they don't really like to question that idea that the individual
Of
is
course.
it's a given, that feels really
Yeah,
um
well, it's just a sharing. It's not propagation, I would say, or
yeah, sorry, as
it's just a
my
sharing.
English.
Well, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it's just a sharing. It's just a suggestion.
yeah.
And it goes down like a lead balloon, really. Of course it
Yeah,
does. It's just such a ridiculous idea to
yeah,
suggest that that there's already no separate you, and that what's being yearned for is simply what's appearing to happen. Because
yeah,
what's appearing to happen for the individual is just boring. It may be somewhat, it's whatever, but it can't be just this.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
they're
always
always
around the
working on
next
something.
corner,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
all energetic. So really, the sense that uh, it's you're talking about people's death, the death of the individual. So the individual is not going to be too keen on that.
yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah.
always
So
wondered
generally,
because, yeah, sorry. I've always wondered about that, that people present themselves as being like really open-minded in a sense and being really spiritual, like,
mm.
but if you question their existence, they become like really dogmatic about it. It feels like that. It often feels like that.
Oh, totally. Spirituality is just feeds the individual. It's just something that the individual does.
Yeah, yeah, they're always working on something.
Yeah, and there can be an enormous arrogance to it because they feel they're closer to it than the average person.
They've already
And
achieved
then
so much, and
yeah,
yeah,
they've achieved enlightenment.
yeah, almost,
Unlike
almost.
unlike
Yeah,
you, you're down the pub and you're actually drinking,
yeah.
and
It's just a
I feel
lazy
so sorry for you.
bum.
You poor
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Because I've been meditating for 20 years. Did you know that?
They they they're using
Did I
that
tell you
to
that I've been
yeah,
20
yeah,
years meditating? Yeah.
yeah.
So
They feel
yeah,
sorry
it's
for
just a
you.
game.
Yeah,
It's just a story. Yeah.
it's another way of feeling superior, of feeling like yeah, elevating oneself above other people in a sense,
Yeah.
like mm.
Yeah. The first time well, God, a long time ago now, apparently, I think probably about nearly 20 years ago or so, someone, I was living with someone and someone had the book, The Power of Now.
Yeah,
And
I read that as well.
and the first thing was, how many times have you read it?
I actually
So
read it quite
immediately it was a
often.
competition. Immediately it was a competition because I've read it 10
Yeah,
times now.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm kind of a little bit ahead of you on the. Did you notice that I'm a bit more present than you are?
Yeah.
I noticed with you kind of drift off a bit, but I'm here, So
Yeah.
it's just a game. It's just a game, and it's not. And when you obviously it's not right or wrong. It's just a game. It's just what appears to happen. So
Yeah.
spirituality just for here, spirituality is just something in the story that appears to happen. It doesn't have any
Yeah.
meaning or significance or anything.
No, it's
But
not right or
it's
wrong, but it feels a bit futile, really, because they'll
oh, it's
never
completely
achieve
futile.
what
It's
they're
absolute
what they are.
nonsense.
Yeah, they're never going to achieve what they're actually set out to achieve in that sense, because I mean like the how do you say? But the goal of spirituality is enlightenment, like the proposed goal, and they never even. I mean, they can pretend to themselves that they've reached a state that sort of resembles what they expect to enlightenment to be, but they never actually get where they're supposed to get after all this amount of work. It's just a pretension.
Yeah, in the story, there's such a thing as enlightenment, and there's such a thing as people who are enlightened.
Yeah,
And people believe that to be real, and then they actually believe that there are levels of enlightenment also, and that if you work really hard, you can work your way through the levels, and it's complete and utter nonsense.
That's
it's
true.
Total bullshit. But
That's true.
it doesn't feel like bullshit when that's something that attracts you. Then that's what attracts you, and then you really do have teachers and gurus and all of that, and
that's true. Yeah,
that's just what happens. And it's
Depends
no different than the person who's down in the pub drinking,
no.
trying to get sex.
It
or
depends on your
someone who's trying to
definition
make a
of
lot of
enlightenment,
money.
right?
You'd have
Yeah,
more fun
yeah.
in the pub, I think, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but don't tell them that. It depends on your definition of enlightenment, though, right? If you just, what I often find strange is that the way enlightenment is defined in those, like, whatever you want to call them, spiritual schools, it sounds very resemblant of this message in a sense. If you look at Buddhists or whatever, and then they create this whole game around it, which just, in my view, just leads in the complete opposite direction in that sense. Puts you on a path somewhere. Nobody knows where that path is going to.
Yeah.
And you're going to work until the end of your days, like in this for this futile endeavor. It's quite sad, actually.
Well, it's not sad. It's what appears to happen.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
just a story. It's just a story. It's not actually anything.
Yeah.
Just a story. And it couldn't be any different either. If someone felt that they were working their way to enlightenment for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, then that's what appeared to happen. That's unconditional love as that. But there's nobody doing that. And then they could just fall away and they said, oh, it's just this.
Or they could just
That's
die
what appeared to
physically.
happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. Don't want
Thanks.
to hijack the conversation too much.
There's nobody doing anything. Too good a view, Malika. Too good a view. Everyone's
They
like,
don't look at you, they look at
I've noticed, yeah. No, it should be like, hey, people. Forget that. Forget that.
Actually, we're waiting for the king. It's 50 years since inauguration, so there's going to be it's going to come out just
Round in the
actually.
corner, the boat with the king in.
Yeah, well, there's a ride, and he's going around the Central Park, but they're going out to this island behind you afterwards, and then he's going to go with the boat.
I know I've got the rifle ready there just to open the window. Just on the break.
Are you filming the view? Or you just...
I was, but the camera went, so it doesn't. I'll try it again after the break. I have no idea.
Then you might get the king.
My tech guy here isn't really very helpful today. He's on strike. He said I'm not paying him enough, so. See, I wasn't paying him anything, I guess, so that was probably an issue. Probably.
It's all about money.
Follow the money. So it's a special event then.
And then you have to follow. What you're pointing that direction, you see over there, you know for sure where
I don't know. He'll be meeting us for dinner later, so he'll tell us what. Yeah, maybe. See, if I had come in by helicopter, you'd all take me a little bit more seriously then. I'm sensing a lack of reverence for me, you know, and it's not kind of okay. Yeah. Is it too casual?
I think it's because you're thinking of this king all the time. You should be more present.
Oh, okay, yeah, that could be it.
Should be wearing white.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll leave the constructive criticism till after the meeting. Because we will be here all day. Don't worry, I'm well aware of that. You don't start on time, you don't send your emails out right, you make mistakes and
you're not wearing white.
yeah, white. It's great, it's just yeah. It's like this, it's like yeah.
It's like nothing.
Yeah, that's better, yeah, nothing.
Yeah, but in a way, I think after the introductions, like it was yesterday and today, it's kind of deal done.
Oh, it is totally and utterly, yeah.
So this is just enjoyment sitting, but there's no question arising.
Oh, totally. I could. There'll be sitting. There's nothing asked of anybody.
No,
so
no,
there's
just...
sometimes there's questions and sometimes there isn't. It doesn't actually matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. So there could be a meeting with it just rapid fire, it's rapid boom, 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 and that's just what would appear to happen. And then it could also appear that like I've sat for a long period, like an hour, and there's nothing to say because that's just what appears to happen. There's nothing to tell anybody. So there's either a question or there isn't. And actually, funny enough, what's being suggested is in when there's no talking as much as when there's a question and answer, actually. And some people are very sensitive to that. And it's actually, because it's all energetic, for some, the resonance is actually more when there's nobody saying anything. That's quite common, and people go, it wasn't a particular thing somebody said or you said, or it was just looking out the window, and because that's the way it is. Because this is unknowable. It's not about knowing. And there is no silence, actually, is the other thing. There's no such thing as silence, actually. It's again, silence would be a story. When you're in a story of something real, then there's a thing called silence. And for some people, it's kind of uncomfortable, actually, because they're constantly trying to fill everything because nothing kind of unnerves them. Nothing's kind of dangerous. You could fall into it and never come out again. Like that's this whole communicate. That's what it is. Nothing. That's all there is, actually. because nothing is everything. As an individual, you're in the half alive sense of the real, so you're only in something as when you feel separate. But yeah, it's gorgeous like that. There's nothing being asked. There's nothing required. There's either question or there isn't. And special, not special, or can collapse. For the individual, the special moment will be when the king goes past and waves up to Kenneth. But he's going to be a bit upset because I'll have my back to him, and I can't see. Oh, but I'm here. Look. And someone would say, "Oh, all those people, they loved you and they waved, and they were all adored you and they said hi." And he said, "Well, what about that one chap that had his back to me? I could see, and he didn't even look. What about him?" I'm joking around, but it's the individual. That's what the mind goes in.
Obviously, yeah.
There's no king, and there's no Kenneth.
No,
and there's no you.
It's been a lack. We were talking before we came in, but it's like a lack of interest. All the ideas fall away. It's not so interesting to read science book any longer or any story, but at least king is happening. Something is happening.
Yeah.
So if I'm on my own, I have less from inside wanting to do things these days, except, moving, going to some coffee, doing the lawn, whatever, into the forest. If children comes in from a neighborhood, suddenly things happens, like the king or whatever. But if it's just me, it's less, very less than before.
Yeah, and the suggestion is that it's actually all of that is nothing appearing to happen. So when there's just at home, say you at home, and you appear to be on your own, and there's, maybe doing the garden or doing whatever, that's nothing appearing to happen. But nothing appearing to happen is also when the king appears, that's also nothing appearing to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's what's being suggested this afternoon, that actually there's nothing even happening. This is nothing appearing to happen. The sense that there's something happening, really happening in time and space, is out of that sense of you feeling separate. And then when there's something happening, then there's meaning in it. And it's either kind of significant or special, or it's not. And that's duality, that's dualism. So that's the dualism that we're speaking of, is the sense of feeling separate. There's not an individual who goes into dualism or whatever. There's feeling separate is that play of duality, of special, not special, right, wrong, good, bad, outside, inside. It really feels, that's the really felt sense of it. And then there's a question then when there is, so that then it will feel that I have a life, and I could lose my life, I could die, you could die. All of this sense of this agitation of feeling separate, and this fear of losing my life. And this is the massive paradox, is that that's actually what's yearned for. So what's most yearned for is the actual thing you fear most, which is the absence of you. I shouldn't have said that about the rifle. We'll probably be raided now in the next hour or something. They'll come down to the roof and kick the windows in.
I was thinking about, this is just a joke, but I do it in the microphone then.
Yeah.
Among people, like the one who killed Kennedy and whatever, people like that, you will be the first one that is documenting it online.
Yeah.
So
I'd have the footage. And then I'd say, it doesn't matter, nothing happened.
You tried that in court.
Yeah. there's only aliveness, there's only energy, and then energy appears as something happening. It's just boundless, unconditional love. But when there's a sense that there's a separate you, it's not unconditional love, it's you and it's the world, and there's a question. Is it his birthday or something, or what's the deal anyway?
He's been on the throne for 50 years.
Oh, okay. In English, we say on the throne means on the toilet. It's a long time.
50 years.
Yeah, that's some serious constipation there. Did you ever hear that expression? Eh? Yeah, I would say, if you're, I'm on the throne, phone me back.
That's why you celebrate.
Yeah, finally, we have some movement. I would do that too. Let's have a national holiday. It's so funny though. It really as if an individual, that sense of specialness really, feels so real. It really does feel like there's a person who is king and they are special, and and when that sense of being separate is no longer, the specialness collapses completely, totally and utterly gone. Special, not special, completely collapses, and it's all just a story, a play of light.
I have a quite a different question. It's because I know you play the guitar, and self-criticism. While you don't play the guitar, but is there self-criticism happening as you play, or as it's played, whatever?
Yeah, no, don't worry about the words. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah. There would be like just playing guitar, and so that's all there is. So, and the limitations of that, well, like a sense that of trying to play something and not being able to play it, and say say a bar chord, and not you can't get the bar chord, and so there's frustration, but it wouldn't be my frustration, So there's just, say, frustration could arise. Like there's nothing different here that isn't anywhere there, nothing at all. But the individual would imagine it to be, oh, so it must be different in this way for you or that way. But actually everything that arises can arise here, really. Well, most things, but they wouldn't arise for me because there's no sense of being a me. So if there was frustration, but there wouldn't be an issue with the frustration because it's just energy. And there was also be, say, if you take that example of the guitar, there's just playing guitar and there's appearing to get better, but there's no sense that, well, I'm not there yet, I'll be there when I can. We were talking about Tommy Emmanuel. When I can play like Tommy Emmanuel, then I'll be there. So that's the say between the individual who feels they're doing something and not feeling like an individual. So there's just playing guitar badly or whatever, or not badly or not so badly or whatever.
And
there's nowhere to get to with it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, really. Whereas an individual, there's always somewhere to get to with everything, and there's always a sense that I'm doing it. You know.
And if you're playing on key, and then suddenly you hit a note that is not really on key.
So what I do then is I pretend I'm a jazz player, and that it's a really clever thing, and then I try and slide into one that is. Did you not know that? That's a real. You should try that.
I don't know, but
and then people go, "Ooh."
But is there this oh no happening?
I don't play much. I usually just play myself. I don't play to people really. But this week I played. Because there's this sharing, but it's not an entertainment, or it's not. But so this week I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We met in this beautiful center in the woods in Galway, and someone said, "Well, will you play guitar in the break?" So we play guitar in the break. So this body wouldn't be accustomed to playing to a group of people. So it felt a little bit different, but that's just what was appearing to happen. And of course there was mistakes and everything, but they're not an issue, you know. You see, nothing can go well or nothing can go badly.
There's no one to be hurt.
Exactly. And it's only for if you feel like an individual. If I felt like an individual who was playing the guitar for a group of people, I would then be in a story of, oh, I did that well, or I did that part well, or that part didn't go so well, and it could have gone better, or it should have gone better. So it's all locked into that story, you know. So anything that arises would be it, because it's just an appearance anyway. It's just, everything is just free to be. Like, this is the suggestion. This is a very simple what's being suggested this afternoon, that actually there's just what's appearing to happen. There's boundless freedom. But when you feel like an individual, that's not seen. That's not seen because you're in this narrative. There's this reality that you're in, and there's a sense of things should be this way or could have been that way, and there's always kind of like a pulling in of pleasure and a pushing away of discomfort. Whereas when there's no longer a sense of being separate, that collapses. So there's a nice sensation, and then there might be an unpleasant sensation. So if we were to apply it to what you were saying, if you're playing and you're completely off key, or you completely hit a bum note, just simply what's appearing to happen. It doesn't matter. So the meaning collapses out of everything as well. And then that's the boundless freedom. So boundless unconditional love is playing a bum note or playing out of key. That's it. And this is what's being suggested, that's actually the freedom that we think we yearn for is actually not what we think it is, because we think we objectivize it. We think it's around the next corner. We think it's when I get good at the guitar. It's think when I know this, when I buy that house, when I get that job, when I da. And actually, the freedom that's actually yearned for is all the time singing, going, hello, it's just this, just this. All there is just what's appearing to happen. So boundless freedom would also appear as being bound. You know, it's another way of saying it. Of course it is. Of course it has to, because if it's not boundless freedom if it doesn't. So there's nothing that can appear to happen that isn't. Just aliveness. And there's nobody ever really playing guitar. But there can be a really sense that, like, you know, we'll substitute guitar for anything else. But that sense is there, then it's energetically, there is a sense that I'm doing it. And it wouldn't be an idea, like it wouldn't be it would be an energetic, like it's what's been illuminated is that sense of being an individual is it's a really felt sense of being an individual. So it would really feel like I'm playing the guitar, you know, it's me that's playing the guitar, or it's me that's speaking now, or whatever. And that's there until it isn't. Usually that's at physical death. That's what physical death, it's a release from the story, energetic shift. But it can be before physical death. You could die. You could die this afternoon. Good, honestly. Anyone who feels like an individual could die here. And then it would be seen that nothing happened. That actually nothing happened. That's same as physical, that nothing happens. So you're not even there. It's hilarious. That's the big joke. I wasn't never even really there. I was terrified of unconditional love. I was terrified of not being there, and I was never even there. Nobody is ever, there is already no individual.
When you say this, is this the same as unconditional love? Did you just use them in the same?
Yeah. When I say unconditional love, I mean what's appearing to happen. Yeah, unconditional love isn't a thing. For the individual, there's a thing called love, which is when my needs are met, really, and when someone values me and I value them, or they help me or I help them. And the love that's been spoken of here it's completely different to what we think it is. So unconditional love is nodding head. It's boundless energy is unconditional love. Yeah, it's not actually knowable. Unconditional love is not something knowable or obtainable, and it's already all that is. It's just aliveness.
So you're just using all these expressions as meaning, pointing to the same thing.
Yeah,
unconditional love, aliveness.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, I'm not actually doing anything. Funny enough, but there's nobody here who's doing anything. But this whole communication, like, I mean, those terms don't actually even matter, really. They're all just pointers, because there's something beyond the words that is it's totally energetic. That energetic sense of being separate is untouchable. It's completely untouchable. It either appears to be there or it doesn't. But when it's shared like this, in this way, that it can be that it's just, it resonates, and that energetically then that sense of being separate just isn't there. And it's just so gorgeous, so obvious, because it's like, oh my God, it's just what's appearing to happen. So all sorts of terms will be used, but they don't really matter. Like wholeness, when I say wholeness or energy or nothing being everything, I mean, that's all the same. And all that is sitting on a chair. It's not a thing, it's not an idea, it's not a state, it's not an experience. We're not talking about any kind of experience here. It's an individual who has an experience. And it's just head nodding, sunshine, water, chair, sounds. I could not describe how ordinary it is. But for the individual, there's a kind of rejection of that in favor of what could be. So everything isn't seen as it actually is, because there's an imprisonment of object to subject. And there's a me, everything relates to this me. And then that's the yearning that comes from that, and the dissatisfaction. So this whole afternoon is energetic. It's not about the answer to a question. That's why I keep saying, if anyone has a question, because sometimes I know that sometimes people, they're trying to look for the right words, but it doesn't actually matter at all. So it's just if it's there, it's just there to be asked or whatever, because it's not The individual would logically think, I have a question, and if I get an answer to it, then, but it's not about, it can actually be seen that there's not even a question. But as part of this sharing, of course, just anything can be asked, or because it's not about the question or the answer, because it's not about knowing. And we're going to have a cup of tea, are we? I think we are, we? Is it, would you come down when it's ready, or you don't know? I don't know either. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have a cup of tea here, guys, and what I'll do is I'll close it down and open it back up, so you'll just be in the waiting room.
Okay.
We'll do about a half an hour tea, and then we'll have another.
All right. See you later.
Okay, thanks.
See you.
See you soon.
See you soon.